There's doping in the chili pepper industry. I am shaking like a leaf.
I'm Noah Chaimberg.
And I'm Smokin Ed Currie.
And we're back for part 2 of Hot Ones Spice School Q&A. All right. Is there a theoretical limit on how hot a pepper can be bred to be? Great question. I'm really curious.
Well, actually, when I started breeding peppers, I thought that like 4.2 million was going to be the maximum. And the way we come up with what the maximum Scoville could be was we take the mass of a pepper and the available space inside, and that's how much we can breed in the membrane that produces capsaicin. If we take this and then we breed it with this, we have more mass and more volume inside, and we can get more membrane. And now we've got super hot peppers that are, we call them apples because they're a bit as big as apples. Right now, I think the theoretical limit for a pepper for Scoville is 7.8 million. And we're working our way towards it, and Noah's gonna have to eat it live on camera.
All right, next up, settle the debate. Is chili spelled with an I or an E?
It all depends on the different place the chili's from. Is that your experience?
Yeah, totally. It's what type of chili you're talking about, and where does that chili come from?
Where does that chili come from? Who cares if it's got an I or an IE? Personally, let's put an EY on the end. It's the same thing. I like double EY. Okay. Does color matter on how spicy the pepper will be?
Oh, interesting question.
Yeah, it is.
So it's actually all peppers start out as green, right? Mm-hmm. And then as they ripen, they soak up more sunshine, they'll turn colors.
As they ripen, they do get more intense Scoville because that membrane inside is maturing and starts producing the oil. But say, for example, you have a red ghost or a yellow ghost or a peach ghost. Each of those have different levels of tannins and different levels of capsaicin because of the way that the sun reacts with the pepper. So red peppers, people tend to think are the hottest, but they might not have the amount of tannins that, say, the chocolate peppers or the mustard peppers have. So when you have a larger amount of tannin in the pepper, we perceive them as being hotter, even though sometimes they're not.
I don't care what color the pepper is, this one's the scariest. How do different cooking methods affect the heat of peppers? So what do we got going on here, Ed?
Okay, well, this is a little bit of Pepper X puree. Okay? And this is Pepper X powder. Okay.
Ooh, wow. That's really just Pepper X?
Yeah, that's really just, doesn't it smell delicious?
It smells really good. It's super citrusy.
Here's some Pepper X oil. Here's some Pepper X tar. So, when you're cooking, the higher you cook, the lower the heat is gonna be. But you can offset that. If I'm baking a casserole, and I want that casserole to be really hot, instead of using like puree in the casserole, what I'll use is powder and oil. Those are gonna be more virulent to the heat. But if I'm doing something like, say, sauteing vegetables, I'm gonna use some puree because it's gonna give it a fresher flavor. And we're not cooking for very long because the heat is very, very high. Just remember, the higher you're cooking, the faster it's gonna dissipate the heat in the product you're using.
All right. What has been your worst experience with peppers, and did it make you reconsider your love of spice? I used to have a tradition where we would do a hatch chili roast here at Heatonist in the backyard every year when the harvest came in. And every year I would make the exact same mistake where it'd be a certain time of the night and I would go straight from manning the roaster, hands covered in chilies and everything, and go to the bathroom, and I would make the same mistake every year. And it just got to be a tradition. Not one that I kept up on purpose, but just one that haunted me.
Be sure to wash your hands, and if you can't get it off, wear gloves when you go to the bathroom, okay?
The old reverso.
All right.
I like that.
Actually, the people from First We Feast are the ones who gave me my worst pepper experience of all. They asked me to eat a whole Pepper X.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Cheers.
Cheers.
Holy.
Even though I don't look it, I'm feeling just like Klaus is feeling. There's an intense burn that happens immediately And then your head kind of feels like, oh no, what's going on? And then your body just starts reacting. You get it in your arms, you get it in your chest. It has no real throat burn like the Reaper, but that comes on later when you're in pain.
I'm getting throat burn, actually.
About an hour and a half later, right when we got into the limousine, I had absolutely the worst pain I've ever had in my whole life, to the point where I was making noises that had the driver going, do we need to go to the hospital? And we got her to take me back to the hotel, because I know it's just temporary. But when I got out of that limousine, I couldn't move. I just laid down on a marble slab in front of the hotel. In a downpour rain that became the flood of New York City, October, it hurt so bad. And then all of a sudden, after I don't know, it was about 4 hours, I was like, wow, this is great. I got high from it finally. And we went out to dinner and ate more peppers. If spice can be taken to the level it has, why hasn't anyone developed an antidote that brings it down cool as fast as it gets spicy?
Would you actually want that? I think I'm glad that there's no antidote that can just take you back to zero whenever you want. It's like, it would lower the stakes of the whole thing. It would lower the thrill and the risk and the fun and the excitement.
I tend to agree with you. See, there's these chili competitions, and people eat medicines that will shut off their receptors so they can win the competition. What's the point? You can't, if you're cheating to win, it's not a competition.
Doping.
Yeah, there's doping in the chili pepper industry.
How does one best begin growing hot peppers? Tips and tricks for the best yield. All right, that's a Smokin Ed question.
Super hots are a little different. They require a lot more attention. As it's growing, when it gets about this tall and have, say, 6 or 8 sets of leaves, it's going to require some food. You can get a regular nutrient mix like 20-20-20, or you can go with 10-0-15. When it gets to about 1.5 feet, it needs calcium and magnesium. There's a product called CalMag, and then there's another product called fish emulsion. Once it gets to about 1.5 feet, you need to do a regular rotation every 2 weeks. That will give the super hot the nutrients that kind of mimic where they come from, which is, the tropical regions in between Cancer and Capricorn.
How many peppers does it take for you to get a pepper high? From D Comstock 760.
No, it's not how many peppers, it's the type of pepper. I get pepper high off of 2 or 3 Reapers, okay? Or, 1 Pepper X, or tar, or oil. All of those affect my brain right away. Okay, it's a base brain reaction right down in here. TRVP1 receptor is sending the signal that this is hot, don't eat it, even though there's no heat. That is sending a signal, okay, and the dopamine receptors are starting to put out dopamine and endorphin to overcome the feeling of heat, so that when you're burning, you get some relief. But then the capsaicinoids are flowing through your bloodstream and they're filling those dopamine receptors, and that releases a huge flood. And that flood goes, boom, and your whole body gets high, kind of like, the excitement of a runner's high, or climbing a mountain with your fingers, or jumping out of an airplane. It's a rush that you feel for a full body experience. And it's just some of the funnest stuff in the world for those of us who love peppers. What can scientifically explain the different heat profiles different peppers have? Like throat heat versus mouth heat versus chest heat. Capsaicin, which is the prevalent capsaicinoid in all peppers, everybody knows that name. But there's many subcapsaicinoids, and each one of them affects the body in a different way. But like dihydrocapsaicin is the one that just hits you straight in the throat.
That's the habanero
Because
burn.
it's just like boom, 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 and you have trouble breathing, And then regular capsaicin is the one that just affects the mouth right away.
Yeah, the Pepper X, for those of you that have had a good spoonful of it, I find it always goes up the back of the head and sits on top of the brain, and then it sort of melts down your entire body.
Yeah, it's like
And then your tongue catches fire.
it's like a full body experience.
So the newest iteration of the last dab. So we've done Carolina Reaper, we've done Pepper X, we've done the Apollo,
We've
done Scorpion, and now we wanted to put them all together in one easy to guzzle format. The last dab, Thermageddon. So here we're leveraging the different powers of all these different peppers together as kind of like the Avengers of peppers, avenging something, but avenging it on your face.
And see, what I liked about developing this when Noah and I came up with the idea is we balanced the different peppers so that you had the full experience of all of them.
Yeah. You got a little glisten in your
Yeah,
eye.
I got a little
Wow,
glisten going.
this hit you hard.
So the immediate hit was right on the tongue. Okay, boom, starting at the front of the tongue and just following that sauce all the way back. All right, then I got that scorpion, sideburn. You know what I mean? And then that Reaper punch is just right behind it, okay?
Yeah.
And that made my eyes water immediately. But now it has started in my chest, and I feel like the hair on my neck going up. I'm starting to get goosebumps, and that body experience from the X and the Y is coming. I don't know how it affects you, Noah, but I get a little lightheaded.
Yeah.
Thank you for sending in those questions and participating in Hot Ones Spice School Q&A. You got to look out for what, Noah?
Be sure to check out the last dab, Thermageddon. Visit hotones.com, hotones.com,
Hotones.com.
and stay spicy.
Hey, Bill, keep that rolling. Take a big bite.
Oh, she's yellow.
Yeah. Oh,
That's a pretty big bite. This is a peach reaper.
I like it.
you like it?
Yeah.
No, I really think you should try this one. Hey. Yeah, come on. Let me baby bird you.